All right, welcome to the Sharp Mind Show, episode 42. I'm Nate, the Fit Future MD, your host. All right, so we got a big day. We had a big day of college football yesterday. Are there any surprises from yesterday in college football? And I'll tell you right now, Texas, unranked Texas, beating Oklahoma was very surprising. Now, I will say that, it's basically Texas defense and special teams that pulled off this win because, even though Archie Manning was very accurate, 21 for 27, the yardage just wasn't there for him, right? It's 166 yards. Like I say, great running game yesterday for Texas. Quintravion Weisner had 22 carries for 94 yards. Obviously, that's going to be a big factor there. Help a young quarterback out. And then on the other side, you had John Mater, throw up the ducks, right? 3 picks, right? And so you can't turn the ball over 3 times in a game and expect to win. So that's number one is Texas, Oklahoma. Alabama holds off Missouri, 27-24. So Missouri gets their first loss. Honestly, it looked like it was a very close game. Let's see. Looked like it was a close game. But same thing on Missouri side, right? Bo Pribula had 2 interceptions, right? So the difference in this game are those 2 turnovers. And Ty Simpson didn't turn the ball over. Ty Simpson got 3 passing touchdowns, didn't turn the ball over, right? So Alabama holds off Missouri there. And let's see, any other. And I think that was it as far as any surprises. Let's see. Yep. And Florida State loses to Pitt, right? And so Florida State's been on a drop ever since the win over Alabama. So that loss is kind of hurting Alabama now. Turnovers weren't the story in this game. So Pitt just, actually Pitt overcame 2 turnovers to beat Florida State here. Very surprising there. Pitt's 4-2. Florida State's now 3-3 and 0-3 in ACC play, which is wild, right? So start out so hot, beat an SEC team, and then just go poopers after that. Really looks like defense here. Looks like Florida State gave up 155 yards on the ground. You can't do that. 321 in the air. Obviously, you can't do that and win. So those are the surprises from college football. Let me know which one was the biggest surprise for you. Obviously, for me, it was obviously Texas beating Oklahoma was a pretty big surprise there. Ranked number 6, and Texas has basically been struggling on offense. So, all right, so this episode is brought to you by London and the Googly Goo. Make sure you shop at Amazon.com and pick up London and the Googly Goo. If you got nieces, nephews, or children of your own, pick up my wife's book, London and the Googly Goo. It's got a great moral, great story. Your children will love it, right? It'll be their go-to book. All right, so in baseball, we're going to talk about baseball. Milwaukee beats the Cubs in Game 5, 3-1. Right, so Milwaukee had a better record coming into this series anyway. So you knew basically if it was going to go deep into the series, the Cubs might have been able to, make their first two guys, the first two aces, kind of give them an edge here. But when you're talking about 5 games, that means you got to have, the deeper team is going to win in 5 games, right? As far as pitching. Cubs give up 3 home runs here, and Milwaukee advances to the NLDS. So, what do you guys? So, what do you guys think about this here? Milwaukee beating the Cubs. I think they're going to play the Dodgers next. Yep. So the Brewers are going to end up playing the Dodgers next. Do the Brewers have any chance against the Dodgers? Let me know what you think in the comments below. But Bryce got him a home run for Milwaukee. Obviously 3-1, so pitching did great. Mazzorio did great. So let me know what you guys think about the Milwaukee Brewers advancing to face the Dodgers there, right? All right, so the weekend is where you make your money, right? So basically, a lot of stocks are down after Friday, after the 100% tariff announcement, right? So you're like, well, what is up? Right? What is actually going up? Right? Well, volatility, obviously, but MP Materials Core was up 8%, right, on Friday, and another 2% after hours, right? So, and this is with no news, no nothing, that kind of thing. Oh, just kidding. So, MP Materials partners with Apple, right? So Apple is going to get their materials from MP Materials, right? So that is why MP Materials is going up, right? So, but I'm basically looking at the last 6 months, like I'm saying, where is this in the cycle of MP Materials, right? So obviously in the last 6 months, MP Materials has popped pretty high here. But they are still losing money. They're still in the negative, right? So you got to be careful with companies that aren't making money because they're going to still have to find funding rounds, so that can dilute how much you bought, right? So, but we make money on the weekends. MP Materials, in my view, if they ever are profitable, then they're sitting at a $13 billion market cap now. If they become profitable, they're going to be sitting at a $20 to $26 billion market cap at least, right? So even though this has run up from $25 or whatever it was, $20, yeah. So it's ran up from $20 all the way up to $80. I think you still have big time gains in this particular stock. So I would consider this what's called a growth stock, right? So you're number one, you're not purchasing it for a dividend. You're not purchasing because it's down on its luck, or the sector itself is down. You're purchasing this because you believe they're going to acquire more customers, and therefore increase their earnings. They're going to be growing, right? So they're going to be considered a growth stock, right? So where do you put growth stocks? So there's 2 things you can do with growth stocks. You can swing trade growth stocks. Well, 3 things. You can swing trade, you can day trade, or you can long-term invest with growth stocks, right? So obviously a regular person, long-term investing is obviously going to be good here. If the government's trying to get more materials under control of the U.S., then obviously, that's going to be a good move long term. Like I said, I wouldn't put a huge portion of my portfolio into this long term because this is not a profitable stock, right? So technically they could end up in bankruptcies if the credit situation tightens and you lose basically everything, right? Because they're not profitable yet. But it is growing, so it's basically it's like buying Amazon in the 90s, right? You could have gone broke 3 or 4 times, or even Tesla in the 2010s, you could have gone broke, But so if you put a small bet, obviously I think it's going to double up. So, this kind of bet, I say bet, but you're investing in a company that does a certain thing that is growing, right? So it's not necessarily a bet, but like I say, if they come into funding problems, then you that's the only negative of this stock is that they're not profitable yet. And as soon as they're profitable, like I say, and I think that's why it's going up now, because this deal with Apple could make them pop into profitability. And if that happens, you're going to see a run to 150, 160 pretty quickly there. So let me know what you guys think about MP Materials. Obviously, I think it's a growth stock. I would put it in my long-term investments, and I would day trade it all day long, right? At this, like I say, it's sitting at that sweet spot, $80. Obviously it was better when it was in the 40s and 50s, but sitting at that sweet spot, still $80, so you can still buy a few shares. Because especially if you trade options, you got to buy 100 shares for a contract. So you want to be able to cover that, right? So keep that in mind. What do you guys think about MP Materials? All right, and last one of the day is, of course, the quote of the day. You can't heal pretending you were never hurt, but you can rise knowing you are no longer broken, right? You can't heal pretending you were never hurt, but you can rise knowing you're no longer broken, right? So some people, and especially therapists, right, can overdo this. Oh, you have to find out what was in your past to heal you, right? So you can kind of keep that in mind. Like, they kind of overdo that. Like, yeah, you want to know it's there, but you don't want to be thinking about it all the time, right? That's not like, oh, mommy hurt me when I was 5 and I'm torn up forever. Like, so you can't pretend it's not there, but at the same time, you don't want to just overly obsess on it, right? So that's why I use, I talk, I'm a life coach, so I talk about mindset, skill set, and habits, right? So you start with mindset, you use affirmations, so in your affirmations, you're not going to say, such and such happened to me, but or you might say such and such happened to me and I overcame it, right? It no longer holds me back, whatever. That's how you rise, not being broken, right? So that's number one, affirmations. If you don't have affirmations, you can pick mine up for free, and you can add certain things to them, to specifically add it to you, and that might help you. I give those away for free in the description below, so check those out. Obviously, and then we start talking about my skill set and habits, right? So you use your habits to gain more of your skill set, right? So you wake up early, you read 10 minutes a day on the thing you're trying to do, and that increases your skill set. And then your habits every day, you wake up early, you read, you work out, stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, you've built little layers where you're getting better 1% every day until all of a sudden you're just head and shoulders above where you were at. And then eventually you're head and shoulders above everybody else. And people are like, oh, you're an overnight success, right? So keep that in mind. Like I say, there's two ends of psychology here based on this quote. And, you can concentrate on what's happening to you. You can concentrate on your skill set now at the same time. And then get over whatever is keeping you down, right? So keep that in mind. I'm Nate, and I'm a life coach. If you're looking to help with stuff like this, right, where you're no longer broken, you got through everything you need to get through, sign up for life coaching today. It's $2,000 for the year. Most life coaches charge $150 an hour. Instead of doing that, charge you $2,000 flat fee for the whole year. You're going to see me every week for a whole year. And if you're not better after that year, then I'll give you the whole $2,000 back, right? So I'm going to put at least 52 hours in you. You can do the math. 52 times 150, that's a little bit different than, that's a lot bigger than $2,000. So keep that in mind. Buy my wife's book, London in the Googly Goo. If you see it on Amazon, shop at InstaSell.com. Pick up a cool inspirational t-shirt today, and we'll see you in the next piece.